So here's a little surprise for everybody here, including myself, if I'm being honest. A Fox News host actually grilled Rick Scott, who is one of the, lead Republicans in the country. He's a senator, and he's in charge of the Republican Senatorial Campaign Committee, so he's kind of in charge of the money and the campaigns and where to direct the funds. So Martha McCallum is really not buying a lot of his bullshit here. Let's take a look.
How a record cash haul vanished for Senate Republicans. It says by the end of July, the National Republican Senatorial Committee had collected a record $181.5 million, but had already spent 95% of it. Then it goes to August.
Okay, did you hear that? So this guy, they raised a tremendous amount of money. Let me get the exact number. So the National Republican Senatorial Committee, which again helps run these campaigns and directs the funds, they raised $181.5 million, but they've already spent 95% of that money. So in other words, homeboy's got no money left for the home stretch, which is when it's the most important to spend. Where'd all that money go, bro? Where'd it go? But now, here's the thing. And this should be brought up anytime anybody talks about Rick Scott, they should bring this up immediately. The guy is a con artist. The guy did the largest Medicare fraud in American history. Let me repeat that. The largest Medicare fraud in American history. So where is the money? It's a good question, right? It's a really good question. Because nobody should trust this guy with anything, with any amount of money.
But had already spent 95% of it. Then it goes to August, where you have just $23 million left. That is less than half of what the Democratic Senatorial Committee has ahead of the really intense stage of this whole race that we're now heading into. How did that happen? Where did all that money go?
Well, we did the right thing. We spent early. I mean, here's the problem with campaigns.
That is not the right thing. The right thing is you spend in the home stretch. For sure, you spend in the home stretch. You can and should spend early, but it's more important in the home stretch. And by the way, this motherfucker looks like a literal gremlin.
If you wait until the last month, I mean, there's too much static, there's too much noise out there. So what we did, as soon as our candidates got through their primaries, we started helping them. We put up ads with them to talk about what they believed in, and we started early on, we started defining the Democrats. That's put us in a position right now that we not only can keep our 50 Republican seats, but we also can pick up probably as many, doesn't mean we'll get that many, but we got 6 competitive seats where the Democrats, all the Democrats in our competitive seats are underwater. They're under 50% on their fave.
But Senator, you see a lot of these races that are...
That is a super misleading stat. He said all the Democrats are under 50%. But yeah, the Democrats are still leading the Republicans. You can be leading like 45 to 40, right? And then the remainder goes to a third-party candidate or to I don't know. He's finagling the numbers here. You guys realize that? He's such a fucking con artist. Holy shit. Now, by the way, as head of the Republican Senatorial Campaign Committee, there was an article that just came out recently that talked about how his tactics were so scammy and so over the top and so aggressive that people, a lot of Republican donors just dropped out of donating to the Republicans because they would send a text message with a question like, do you think Donald Trump was a good president? And then you'd click yes, but by saying yes or clicking yes, it would automatically sign you up to donate when you didn't even realize you were donating, and it might even sign you up to do a recurring donation, which you didn't sign up for. So a lot of the voters caught on to how scammy these tactics were, and this is a very scammy field in general where, all the ways they raise the money is super scammy, but this was like a bridge too far, even for Republican voters, and so the money dropped off a cliff because people stopped donating, so they're like, this is so scammy, what's going on here? And that's all decisions that he made.
Are tightening up in Florida, in Ohio, and these candidates are in need of money at this point. So some of them are pointing fingers at your leadership and saying that it's not working. What do you say to them?
Well, let's look at the numbers. We're going to keep our hardest race is to keep. Ron Johnson's going to win. We invested with him
He's
early.
behind
He needed
by
that
about
early.
5 points right now, right?
So
We're going to keep our hardest races to win. Ron Johnson's going to win. And she's like, he's down 5 points now. Wait, so why did you say that? Like, you know what's going to happen. Like, it's a foregone conclusion. Like, it's already over. Like, it's already done. You're wrong. That's not true. He just says stuff. Why? He's a con man. It's a guy like this who commits the worst fraud in the history of Medicare. So he just says things confidently that are dead fucking wrong. And he got caught speeding by the Fox host who has the numbers in front of her. He's down 5 points. What do you mean? Hey, why are you acting like it's a layup? Homeboy's down. What does that mean? Why are you saying that? What are you doing? What are you doing? Because he's full of shit. He's totally full of shit.
Ron Johnson's either tied or up a little bit or down barely. I mean,
no, bitch. He's down 5 points, as Martha said.
If you look at, ask these candidates that we've invested in, if they think we should have invested early. Absolutely. They needed the money. They got through tough.
Okay, nobody's saying, hey, you shouldn't have spent any money early. Of course you can spend some money early. But blowing through 95% of it is the fucking problem. But you're not answering that because you know you have no answer to it.
Primary, some of them did. They needed the resources, and we did it at the right time. Because what we don't want to do is remember what happened in Georgia, right? Everybody thought the runoffs would be real easy. Warnock didn't get defined in the general election, and he was able to win a Senate seat because he wasn't defined early, because people thought it was going to be easy to win Georgia.
No. Here's what happened in Georgia. You had horrendous candidates, Kelly Loeffler and who was the other one? They were literally part of that scandal about how they made hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars by doing some stock trades right before the COVID crash happened. And there was a meeting where they were told, hey, just so you know, you might want to move your money because there were all sorts of corruption scandals around them where they were doing these sketchy ass corrupt deals and making money as other people were getting hosed. And so the argument from Warnock and Ossoff at the time, and again, they won. The argument was, look at how corrupt these motherfuckers are. This is crazy. We're against this. And it was Ossoff who was leading the charge on banning stock trading for Congress, for politicians. And that's one of the reasons why, because of what happened with Loeffler. Oh, and Perdue was the other one. It was Loeffler and Perdue. Two super corrupt politicians. And they lost. And the reason is their corruption was hit over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And you had Warnock and Ossoff were also leading the charge saying, we're going to give you $2,000. We're going to do stimulus check, $2,000. You guys remember this? These were the main reasons why they won. Now, of course, that hit a wall when they got to the Senate, and Biden only did $1,400 because he said, oh, Trump already gave you $600, so if you do the math, I have to give you $1,400 more. It was super Weasley, but they got $1,400 out there, and so those were their core promises, and that's why they beat these fucking total loser psychopaths and corrupt charlatans. And so what his diagnosis isn't even correct. But look, hey, we should all be cheering because nothing like an incompetent guy who's in charge of the money on the Republican side, because that has benefits associated with it. If you want to see me and Crystal Ball interview legends like Noam Chomsky, Cornel West, and more, subscribe to Crystal, Kyle, and Friends on Substack. $5 a month gets you the video version a day early. Remember, we take 0 ad dollars for this podcast. Or you can sign up on Substack for free and get the audio version a day later. Link in the video description box below.